Show me some ass, I want to see something, babe. Find me a hoe and I freak on her. I ain't her boyfriend right now, she my freak for the day. I got a show to come lean on it, even when summer right there and it's hot outside. I take the beat and I ski on it. We on the Casamigos, I got 3 of them. They want me fuck them all night, want me pee on them, no. Ain't finna have me on TMZ talking about trafficking. I got the ARP, I get the slapping and showing you bitch ass niggas what's happening. Fuck did you think? I tell the waitress at clubs, I'ma open my bottle myself, so don't bumpin' my drink. Pull up from the club in a Rolls Royce, car full of bad bitches bumping some drink. Nigga, comfortable in here, it's me and the fully. Fuck with me, I'ma get jiggy. I see that she fuck with that, she don't think I seen her look. No, she won't give me that kitty. When they put the pressure on you niggas, run away. You know me, I'm still in the city. I just hit the grocery store, we got some groceries today. Went home and made me some chicken. These little niggas hold you.
Fight Fiend Forecast. I'm Joseph, the host, back for UFC Vegas 91. I'm going to try to hype up this card because it absolutely stinks. We got a horrible main event between two fighters that are coming off a loss, but we're going to make the most of it. As always, we're going to try to crush the locks of the week. Last week, I had 3 of them, and we crushed them. So everybody is pretty pleased with that bet I gave out. I gave it out on the full card prediction show, but on this full card prediction show, I'm being honest here, I don't have any confident picks really locked in yet. I don't have any picks that I can really give you that's 100% confidence. I got no one locked in. I don't even know who's going to be an honorable mention, but we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down fast. It's Sunday. I'm getting the video out there early for everybody. Let's see if we can make some money on this stinky card. And we're going to start it off with the prelim opener here. And this fight is probably one of my favorite fights of the night, so that's a good thing here. We got Maheshate against Gabriel Benitez. This guy, Benitez, 35 years old. He's tough and durable, but, you know, he's been getting finished, man. Like, this is near the end of the career for him. Like, this has to be it. 35 years old, coming off a couple finished losses, most recently to Jim Miller by submission. Jim Miller got pieced up on the feet, so, you know, Benitez couldn't do what Bobby Green did, so we don't have to be aware of that. Now, on the feet, I think Maheshate is going to be the better striker. A lot of you are going to agree here. His putback right hand against Steve Garcia. His counter right there, that was beautiful. He has power. That was his last knockout win. I could see that happening again. Now, this is going to happen early. First 5 minutes, I would think. Gabriel Benitez just got finished to Jim Miller. Like I said, Miller's 40 years old. His other finished losses come to David Onama on this card. Got knocked out to him. And then he got knocked out to Billy Q. So, he's been knocked out before. His chin has been cracked, and it's not very good. His win was against Charlie Ontiveros. 11-8. Like, that's your most recent win by KO. Is there a chance Maheshate gets knocked out? I mean, he just got knocked out to Borishev, but Borishev is a world-class striker. And then he went the distance with Rafa Garcia. That was back and forth. He lost the decision there, but, you know, this is not going to go the distance. I really confidently see Maheshate knocking him out. This could be a lock of the week play for sure. First fight of the night, Maheshate, I'd probably lock him in here. Likely going to get the knockout, but sometimes I try to go super heavy on the prop, which I'd go Maheshate KO. I'd look for the round 1 prop, and if it didn't hit, you know, I just would not have put enough on his money line, so maybe I just sit back, take Maheshate, and look for some other locks here because I'm confident Maheshate wins this fight. 24 years old, he's 11 years younger. He's going to be much quicker, sharper striker, more powerful. He's going to have the better durability as well. You know, just because he got knocked out to Borishev doesn't mean he doesn't have a good chin. Like, he can take some shots. He can wear some damage, especially from this 35-year-old who is a slight underdog, plus 170. We're actually getting some pretty good value on this favorite. 144 is not too big of a price to ask for. 82% of people agree with me on Tapology as well. We got 74% going with the knockout for Maheshate. So let's see how it goes. First fight of the night, I'm pretty well locked in on Maheshate, but come back on Friday. I'm going to have the props, parlay show. I'll give you the locks of the week, dog of the week, my main card forecast, the prelim forecast. Going to look through the odds when they open up. Try to lock in on the props this week. Maheshate could be the prelim prop, and it's the prelim opener. I'm confidently forecasting Maheshate by knockout in the very first round, in the very first fight of the night. Now, this next fight here, I mean, this is where it gets a little stinky. We got Ivana, Petrovic, and Liang, the Dragon Girl. She looks like a dragon, that's for sure. Losing 3 in a row in the UFC, it's maybe soon time for her to leave the UFC as well. You know, we talked about Gabriel Benitez, 35 years old. You know, it's soon time to go, but this girl's 27. She's actually the younger fighter here. Petrovic's 2 years older. Coming off a loss as well in her debut to Luana, Carolina, 8-4. You know, couldn't pass the test there. She's going to learn a lot. She isn't the youngest, though. Like, she should have some more experience under her belt. Now, if you look at Liang, you want to take that plus 380. I mean, she just got knocked out to J.J. Aldrich. That's the problem, right? And then got knocked out to Gomez Juarez, 10-4. Knocked out to Ariane Carnelossi, 12-2. I mean, good level of competition, but she's getting finished in every single fight. Like, you don't usually see finishes in women's fights. And this girl is getting finished in every single one. Can Petrovic get the finish? Like, she's a huge favorite. Can she get the finish? That's how I'd look to bet it. Now she has her last 2 wins coming by a submission. Rear naked choke to a 7-1 opponent. And then she had another rear naked choke to a 2-0 opponent. I don't know how high level they are compared to the Dragon girl here, but, you know, she had a split decision to a girl that was 5-4. Knocked out a girl that was 2-0. She should be good enough to get the job done. I'm not going to parlay it. You know, the Dragon girl losing three in a row here. This has to be a motivation spot. This has to be a revenge spot for her to come out and get a win. If not, get out. Honestly, like, the Dragon girl needs a win here. She's going to come out fire in a way. Like, honestly, she's going to be looking for some crazy shots, which is probably going to lead to her getting countered or getting taken down and submitted. So I'm going to be looking for a finish prop here. Ivana Petrovic, I know she's a huge favorite. I know you don't want her in the parlays, but looking at her last 2 fights, she had 2 submission wins and 7-1. That wasn't a horrible opponent. Looking back, that was a decent fight. That girl's probably a little bit better than Na Liang, so if she can submit her, hopefully she can get the back rear naked choke win here in the 2nd or 3rd round for the big favorite, heavy favorite, Ivana Petrovic. She's going to find it. I think. I hope. I have faith. A little bit. She's probably get it done here. And the next fight of the night, we're going to break this one down quick as well. We got Ketlen, Souza, and Marnic, Mann. I'm not looking to bet this one either. But, you know, 94% of people on Topology think Souza has this one in the bag. Do I agree that it's going to be that easy? I don't know. Marnic, Mann, we haven't seen much of her. She is tough. She did lose her last fight, though. And it was a submission loss to Karine Silva, who is the top of the division on the rise. Can't take much away from that. Stepping in, what am I saying? That wasn't even Marnic, Mann. That was Ketlen Souza's last fight. So not a bad loss for her. Marnic, Mann's debut there in the UFC was to Josephine Knutson. 6-0 undefeated. Lost a decision there. Unanimous. That was only 7 months ago. And Souza lost 10 months ago. So both these girls had lots of time to recover, get back into a training camp, try to fix any holes in their game. I gotta think Marnic, Mann might have a little bit more holes in her game. She got knocked out on the Contender Series. Her striking defense isn't the best. I can't trust it. She's a big underdog. I'm not chasing underdogs on this card. It's probably going to go the distance, but I'm going to think the favorite gets it done here. Honestly, she's fought the better competition, beat a girl that was 6-3 by a decision, 8-6. I mean, not the highest level of girls. Another win here, 9-4. Last 3 wins coming by a decision. She's going to have to get it done on the scorecards. I don't see her getting the finish. Marnic, Mann is tough. She is durable. She can last to a decision, I would think here. Can she get the win? I don't think so. She beat a girl that was 7-6 in her last win and 1-1 by split decision in the LFA. So her second last win was to a girl that was 1-1, and she got it done by split decision. It was only like 2 years ago. Within the last 2 years, I do not think she has improved that much. She has a lot more holes in her game. By a decision in a low-level women's fight, I'm taking the favorite, Ketlen Souza. And I'd look at the prop too. I'd parlay the decision. I don't think she's getting the finish in this one. And the next fight of the night, we got Don'Tale Mayes and Caio Machado, training out of Canada. My boy, let's go. But you're a slugger, bro. Like, I don't know if you belong. Honestly, you lost to Mick Perkin. You fought your hardest. You have high volume. Your accuracy, it's so-so. It's a heavyweight scrap. It's low level. It's very low level. Now some love is coming in on Caio Machado. But he's not the best. The Bigfoot is not the best. He's he's going to honestly struggle against a guy like Dontel Mays. The bookies opened up Dontel as the favorite. Lord Kong, they might have had it right here. He's been win-loss, win-loss. He's due for the win here. His last win was to Arlovsky by knockout. His win before that was to Josh Parisian by knockout. So he has hands. He has power in those hands. But his losses, I mean, Nascimento, a big heavy guy that could get takedowns, control time, have more power when he's striking as well. I mean, easy decision win for him. 10-1. Nascimento was just dominant in that fight. There was no way Dontel was winning that fight. Against Augusto Sakai, that was another tough test. Sakai beat him pretty easily by a decision. Machado has not been in there with those guys. Dontel Mays has only lost his last 2 fights by a decision. He's had cage time and experience in there with some high-level guys in the UFC, higher level than Mick Parkin. At the end of the day, Machado has fought a guy that was 11-1, iffy on the Contender Series, got the job done, big underdog. Good win for him 8 months ago, but I don't know how much he's improving. Is he good enough to fight UFC-level competition, 32 years old with lots of experience, 6'6", filled-out heavyweight here, Dontel Mays, who's also trained with John Jones as well. Like, he hasn't trained with bums. The bookies had him as the favorite. I mean, maybe they had it right. He's 25th in the world right now for heavyweights, and Machado's 68th. This is kind of a wide gap here. Is Machado the next prodigy for heavyweight? Is he going to start to, fight some guys, get some dubs? I don't know. 10-6 looks pretty bad for Dontel, but you got to believe me here. He's not that bad. He does have way more UFC experience. I love that in this fight. It's going to be greasy. It's going to be sloppy. I don't want it in parlays. I don't even want to bet on it. But for the pick, I'll agree that the bookies had it right in the beginning here. Dontel Mays will probably get this one done. Sloppy decision. Maybe he finds a knockout in the 2nd or 3rd round. But Machado's tough. He's a tough lad. He's probably not going to get finished, even though he gets hit a lot. And if you have not yet, please smash the like button, suplex the subscribe button. I'm running through it quick. I'm not wasting your time. I'm giving you an honest breakdown on each and every fight. I'm not overly confident in anyone, except for that first fight of the night there, Maheshate. He's bringing out the razor blades. He's ready to go. But for the most part, this card stinks. I mean, I'm giving you my honest opinion, trying to break it down as clearly as I can see it, but I'm not seeing it too clearly. Let's be honest here. We got another fight. This guy's been off for a while. I want to lock him in. The Polish power has to be live in this fight, and they must be bringing in this guy coming off a loss on the Ultimate Fighter finale. And you're giving him a shot after the loss on the finale there. It doesn't really make sense here. We got Michal, Figlak, Mad Dog, which is the Polish power here, opening up as the favorite against the guy that lost on the Ultimate Fighter finale, Austen Hubbard. Thud. I mean, why are they bringing him in here? I'm just trying to figure that out as I break this down. I mean, it doesn't make sense. He got submitted to Kurt Halaba. Both those guys are old, and you just seen Halaba suffer a loss. They're probably just bringing in Hubbard to get Figlak just an easy win. You look at Figlak, he's coming off a loss to Fares Zion. 12-4, lost a decision there. Very good loss to have in a debut fight coming from Cage Warriors. And he took, a year and a half off since that fight. Before that loss, he beat a guy that was 5-3 by a decision. He beat a guy that was 7-2 by a decision. And he beat a guy that was 6-1-2 by a decision. I don't see him getting some crazy finish, which I'm going to have to see that to lock in a guy, right? I need to see the finishing potential, and I don't see it. I do see him getting it done by a close decision, though. You can't tell me Hubbard's coming in here to get the dub. I mean, he looked decent in some of his fights. He looked good on the Ultimate Fighter. He's going to be hungry for the win, but he's 32 years old. He has the experience. I know we talked about it. He's training in Denver as well, I see here, at elevation. I mean, this could be a good underdog, honestly. I don't know. Figlak has had some time off. It just seems like they're scheduling this fight up for him to win. If you look at the wins for Austen Hubbard outside of the UFC there, he beat a guy that was 5-0 and 12-9 by a decision. Now, I got to go with the younger fighter here, 27 years old. He doesn't have the experience, but he has the power, the Polish power. I trust in Michael Figlak. Am I going to lock him in? I don't know. Am I going to put him into a parlay? Possibly. I have some confidence. It's medium right now. It could be high. I'm going to do some more tape study research into this fight for sure. And my official forecast for this fight will be Michael Figlak. But come back on Friday. Like I said, I'm going to give you the props, parlays. Might even do like a final prediction show. Go through each and every pick once again and give you my final pick on each and every fight. So I used to do that, but now I'm just doing a props and parlay show at the end of the week because I've been so locked in on the full card prediction show. But like I said, this full card prediction show here isn't the most confident one that I've made in the last couple of weeks. I'm probably not going to change a whole lot. I'm pretty confident in the picks I'm going to give out here and the method of victories and everything like that compared to last week. I mean, last week the method of victories all over the place, and the week before that my method of victories all over the place. But looking at the picks, I'm doing very good picking the fights and who's going to win. So we got to play it on the money line, we got to play it safe, and we got to secure those bags. So the next fight of the night, we're going to obviously lock in this 5-1 favorite who just got kicked right in the nuts, Victor Henry. He must have had some swollen balls after that one, but he's ready to go in this one here. Rani Yahya is 39 years old, just got knocked out to Montel Jackson. If there's any fight that Victor Henry gets a finish, it's this one. Rani Yahya has nothing to offer here. I see why he's a 5-1 favorite. Now, he got knocked out 11 months ago, and before that he didn't fight for 3 years. That was a bad layoff. He was coming off a decent win to Kyun Ho Kang by a decision, and he beat Ray Rodriguez 15-7 by a submission. So not the highest level of guys that he was beaten, but if he stayed active, you know, at that age, which he probably should have, he wouldn't be getting handed some tough matchups, because Victor Henry is a tough matchup for him at 39 years old and not being the most active fighter, coming off a bad knockout loss 11 months ago. I mean, Victor Henry is 2-1-1 in the UFC. He beat Tony Gravely by a split decision. He beat Raoni Barcelos by unanimous decision. He got kicked in the nuts pretty bad to Javid Bashrat. He looked decent in that fight. I don't think he was going to win whatsoever, but he was giving Javid a run for his money on the feet. And that leads me to believe that Rani Yahya, coming off that knockout loss, is going to get knocked out again or just get cleaned on the feet. Unanimous decision win for Victor Henry. He has great pressure, accuracy, cardio. He gets this one done. Clear favorite, 5-1. I don't see any fluky shit in this one. I don't see any, fishy shit. None of that. There's going to be nothing fluky, fishy in this one. Victor Henry is going to run through Rani Yahya and send him out of the UFC. He's 39 years old. A lot of these fighters on this card, it's time for them to go. Like, I don't know why some of them are here. It's not that they shouldn't be here, but it's that it's soon time for them not to be here. I'm talking Gabriel, Benitez, Liang. I mean, who else is there? Austen, Hubbard there. I'm not really sure why he's coming back after a loss on the Ultimate Fighter finale. Rani Yahya, we got another one. We're going to have more coming up on this card, I'm sure of it. It's a stinky one, and we're going to try to make the most of it. Spray the Febreze. Let's go to work here. Put on your cleaning gloves. We don't want to get any infection or gross bacteria on our hands. We want to keep it clean. We don't want any eye pokes, nut kicks, anything like that. Clean fights this week. We're going to get paid for sure. And the next fight of the night, I'm getting pumped up for this one. Jonathan Pearce and David Onama. An underdog here in this spot, I don't think so. Jonathan Pearce, I went underdog with Joanderson Brito in his last fight where he lost a submission via ninja choke. Now, Joanderson Brito was an underdog in that fight. I was all over it. Jonathan Pearce is a wrestler. Great cardio. He can get the takedowns, but you don't want to be taking down a guy like Joanderson Brito. Great submission ability. I knew he was going to put himself in bad situations in that fight, and did he ever. Now, he's going to learn a lot after that fight there. He's lost 4 other fights other than that one. You know what I mean? He hasn't just lost 1 or 2 fights. He's lost 5 at this point. He's learned quite a bit throughout his career. That was the 3rd time he was submitted now. He has to start tightening up his submission defense. He has to be aware of it on the ground. Against a guy like David Onama, he will be aware of it. He will not get caught in anything silly. Now, Joe Lozon did knock him out, though, in the very first round. Joe Lozon was 27-15. Not the best knockout loss. Now, on the feet, Joanderson Brito was looking pretty good as well, so I don't mind the David Onama pick, the underdog pick here. Now, the last win for Jonathan Pearce, he beat Darren Elkins by a decision. Couldn't finish him, but damn, he put some damage on Darren Elkins. And that's what people do. His nickname's The Damage. But Pearce really beat him up. And Elkins went out and looked pretty good against TJ Brown. So I think Pearce is very good. He beat Makwan Americani by ground and pound. He beat Christian Rodriguez, who was undefeated at the time, by unanimous decision. When push comes to shove, he is a good fighter. He knocked out Kai Kamaka in the second round with ground and pound as well. Omar Morales got submitted in the second round to him. He was on a run, winning 5 fights before his last loss. I feel like he gets back in the win column here. David Onama is a respectful fighter. I like this guy a lot. Now, an underdog price, that's what I want to see when I'm betting David Onama. I just don't see him winning this fight. He found a good uppercut shot against Gabriel Santos, 10-1. But Santos was kind of green in his career, to be honest. He's not at the caliber of Jonathan Pearce, especially when it comes to grappling and wrestling. He's not going to have the takedowns and control that Jonathan Pearce is going to have. Like, Pearce is going to be dominant. And you look at his fight before that win, he lost to Nate Landwehr, majority decision. You know, Nate the Train is my guy. And I probably had Nate the Train in that fight, but David Onama, you know, he just couldn't really put it together in that fight. He just showed that he's not at the caliber of some of these guys. He lost to Mason Jones as well, who is probably the best fighter not in the UFC. I don't know why they got rid of that guy there. Mason Jones there, like, is he seriously not in the UFC, though? Let's look that up, everybody, for a second. Mason Jones, why is he not in the UFC? He's not. He's at Cage Warriors. He lost to Ludovic Klein by a decision, and he lost to Mike Davis by a decision, but he only beat David Onama in the UFC. Okay, that's why. But listen, like, that's telling you something there. Like, the only guy that Mason Jones beat in the UFC was David Onama. There's levels to this game, and Pearce is at that level. I'm taking Jonathan Pearce on the judges' scorecards in this fight here. It's going to be a scrap. Can't wait for it. And now we got the second fight on the main card. I didn't even mention that Jonathan Pearce and Onama was the headline opener there. We got 12 fights, and 6 of them are on the main card. Makes no sense. Should be 5 fights on the main card and 7 fights on the prelims, but it is what it is. We'll take it. Maybe it'll change. It's only Sunday right now, like I said. Recording the video, 10 o'clock Sunday night. And the second fight of this fight night in Dana's backyard is Tim Means and Uros Medic. Medic is a guy that cost me some money in his last one there. I trusted him against, who was it? Mitabik Oralby, where he got neck cranked in the second round. We didn't have much to go off from Oralby there, 11-1-1. I mean, I didn't know what to expect in that fight. I just rode with what I knew. Oralby, I don't even know where this guy's from. Looking at the guys that he beat, I'm pulling it up right now. He beat a guy that was 18-14, 10-7, 6-1. And the 6-1 guy, he beat him by a decision, right? So that win there against Medic really caught me off guard after doing research, now that I remember. So I might have to go Medic in this one again. Revenge spot. He's going to get me some money. Now, usually, if a fighter loses me money like that, I go against him in the next one. But I did really like Medic and his chances in that last one. And before that, he beat Matt Semelsberger, who was 11-5, knocked him out as well. Semelsberger's tough, very tough, and he managed to knock him out with a spinning back fist in the third round. So it's not like he's coming out there in the first round just knocking you out. In the third round, he's very dangerous as well. Tim Means is getting a little bit old. He is tough, though. And in his last fight against Andre Fiallo, he showed that he can take a shot, even though it looked like he was about to get knocked out, and found a knockout shot of his own. So he stays dangerous as well. I think Medic's just going to be the better striker. More sharp, more accurate, and coming off a loss, he's going to be hungry. Tim Means is not coming off a loss. Tim Means was coming off 3 losses, where he was probably pissed off, ready for a win against Andre Fiallo, who has no chin. Looking at Fiallo, the dude has no chin. He can't take a shot very well. And in the third round, look at Tim Means. He got the job done. Finally cracked the chin after weathering the storm. He was obviously saying to himself, I don't want to lose 4 in a row. This is going to be it. Now, if he loses this fight, he just won his last one. They might not get rid of Tim Means right away. He's been in the UFC for so long. He's done a lot for the company. He beat Mike Perry in 2020 by a unanimous decision. He beat Starpoli by unanimous decision. All guys that they got out of the UFC, but some credible wins there. Nicholas Dalby, another decision win for him. So he's done some great work inside of the UFC. His knockout win, it's not like he's going to come out here and throw hands in the first, second round and find a knockout finish against Medic. That's not going to happen. He wore down Fiallo after weathering the storm in the third round there. Right? Fiallo doesn't have a great chin. I think Medic can survive on the feet, and he can find himself a finish. I'm going with Medic in this fight. I'm pretty confident. I know a lot of people are going Tim Means in this fight. I don't know if they're going to be, but I feel like a lot of people are going to take this underdog shot. If it hits, and if you're on the Dirty Bird side, credit to you. He's 40 years old. I don't trust him. Now, Fiallo was knocked out, 6 times? He's been knocked out 6 times out of his 8 losses. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has 4 losses in a row right now. He was coming off a head kick loss to Joaquin Buckley. Before that, he got spinning back kick to Muslim Salikov in the 3rd round. And before that, Jake Matthews found a right cross in the 2nd round. That's 3 fights in a row. He wore a ton of damage. Like, Tim Means by KO was a fucking really good bet in that fight. And it cashed. So, in this fight here, I don't see it happening. Tim Means probably gets knocked out. Looking at his last couple losses here, like I said, he lost 3 in a row before that Fiallo fight, and he got submitted to Alex Morono. He lost a split decision to Max Griffin, and he got submitted to Kevin Holland. So maybe it's a decision win for Medic. A split, probably not. Max Griffin's old, slowing down as well. Medic's going to be sharp and quick on the feet. Now, you see him get submitted twice. I think Fiallo had some good moments on the feet, had some potential for a knockout finish, just wasn't enough, couldn't capitalize. Now in this fight, I see Medic capitalizing and actually finding the finish by KO. Nico Price found the knockout finish in the very first round in 2019. That was the last time the Dirty Bird was knocked out. Like, that was the fucking last time. That was 5 years ago. You know, this guy doesn't get knocked out very much. Tim Means has how many losses? 15? A big, long career, and only knocked out twice, submitted 7 times, and 6 decision losses. If you look at Medic, his wins in a very short MMA career, he has 9 wins and 2 losses. Not very experienced. The doctor has picked up 7 wins by KO and 2 submission wins. So, he's never won a decision. He's never lost a decision. It's 100% finish rate on both sides. Like, this is an interesting fight here. He has all knockouts in the UFC. He's never found the submission. His submissions were to opponents that were 0-1, 4-4. And those were the only 2. 0-1 and 4-4. He's definitely not getting the sub in this fight. Tim Means was knocked out twice in his entire career. He's getting old. He's slowing down. He almost got knocked out in his last one. I think this is the one that he gets knocked out once again. First time in 5 years. I could see it happening. If not, he's lost 6 decisions. Medic could win his first ever decision win. There is some serious value on Medic by a decision. I wonder if there's going to be some good value on it when the props open up on Thursday. It's going to be something I look into for sure. Medic's my pick. I'm done breaking this one down. This is probably my longest prediction on the entire fight, and it's completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. The next fight in Dana White's backyard is a heavyweight bout between 2 heavyweight sluggers. Jhonata Diniz coming off the Contender Series win to Eduardo Neves, where he found the knockout finish in the very first round. Showed his power and proved that, he could be a problem here in the UFC. Austen Lane coming off a loss in his second fight to Justin Tafa. Tafa found the KO shot in the very first round in that fight, and that leads me to believe that Jhonata can do the same thing. He's hungry for a big win in his debut, and when we're talking heavyweights, the fight can end in one punch. The power that these guys possess is real. It's no joke. So Austen Lane can't be standing there, hands low, trying to do some weird shit because he's probably going to get one punched by this big, mean Brazilian. Like, we can't lie. Jhonata looks like a beast. All 6 wins coming by knockout. All of them in the very first round as well. He beat a guy that was 7-1 on the Contender Series. Before that, 11-8, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 23-23. I mean, not the highest level of guys, right? Like I said, his best win was 7-1 on the Contender Series. Before that, 11-8. And then some terrible, terrible opponents. Austen Lane, looking at him. Before that, Justin Taffa loss. He was beating guys that were 6-0, 6-3, 8-3, 5-3, 5-9, 3-1. Not too positive for him either. A lot of first round finishes as well. You see one rear naked choke there. I mean, he's a big boy. He's 6'6". No reach advantage in this fight though. They have the same reach, so there's going to be no real size difference at the end of the day. Just one guy's going to be a little bit taller, Austen Lane. And the taller fighter usually is more likely to get knocked out, in my opinion. You know what I mean? His chin is just standing there. He doesn't have a low center of gravity. He's going to fall easier. I got to trust in the low center of gravity, Jhonata Diniz. I got to trust the undefeated fighter, even though he's fought low-level competition. And his center of gravity, he's going to find a knockout shot. Like I said, all 6 wins for him come by knockout in the first round. The UFC knows that Austen Lane just got knocked out in the first round. They know that 100%. And they knew after Jhonata won on the Contender Series that Austen Lane was the first guy he has to fight. Because Austen Lane, not only did he get knocked out to Justin Taffa, but he got knocked out to Vernon Lewis, 7-4 in the first round. He got knocked out to Frank Tate, 5-5 in the first round. And he got knocked out to Greg Hardy when Greg Hardy was 0-0 debuting. And he was 4-0. He was 4-0 and lost to a debuting Greg Hardy in the first round. He's been knocked out in every single goddamn fight in the first round that he has lost. He's going to lose another. I just have to bet Jhonata in the first round by KO. It's obvious. It probably won't even be plus money. 90% of people have Jhonata in this fight on Tapology, and 95% have it by KO. It has to be in the first round. 5 minutes is plenty of time for this heavyweight to get the knockout shot. And looking at their last weight when they weighed in, Austen Lane has weighed in at 240 pounds, and Jhonata weighed in at 255 pounds. If you don't know how to do math, that is more than 10 pounds in the difference. I'm going with the guy with low center of gravity, with all of his wins in the first round by KO, and has a clean slate, 0 losses, coming off the Contender Series. Super motivated, big Brazilian. You know I love my Brazilians. Probably a lock of the goddamn week. Probably a lock of the week in the very first round by KO. Give me Jhonata Diniz. However you pronounce his last name. I'm going to figure it out, because I kind of forget how to pronounce his name. And I don't think I'm pronouncing his name 100% correct. But I'm 100% sure he's going to win this fight by KO. Let's fucking get it. And next up, we got Karine Silva and Ariane Lipski. I swear to God, if Lipski wins this fight, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed, man. Karine Silva is one of my favorite women's fighters right now. I don't want to see her lose. I want to see her continue to win, along with Natalia Silva. Those two girls, they got it going. They are entertaining to watch, and they are high caliber. Very high caliber. She submitted her last 2 opponents by knee bar, guillotine choke, no bums either. Marina Moroz and Ketlen Souza both were victims of the killer, Karine Silva. Lipski has won her last 3 fights, but her last loss was to the zombie girl, Priscilla Cachoeira, where she found the knockout shot against her and ended the fight. And that was only a year and 8 months ago. Now, in the last year and 8 months, Lipski has won 3 fights on a hell of a run. Looking damn good. She beat fucking Melissa Gatto, split decision. JJ Aldrich, 11-5 by a decision. And submitted 9-1 Casey O'Neill by armbar 4 months ago. And that was her last fight there. So, I mean, hell of a run for her. Looking good, but can she submit Karine Silva? Like I said, Karine just submitted her last 2 opponents, not bums. No, she can't. So if Lipski can't submit her, I don't think she's going to knock her out either. Like, Karine Silva on the feet isn't bad, honestly. You're seeing a lot of submissions lately in her last 5, but on the feet, she can hold her own. She can win this by a decision. I don't know why I feel like she's going to win a decision here. She's never won a decision in her life. She won 8 by knockout and 9 by submission. It's one or the other for her. 100% finish rate when she loses. She lost 1 by KO, 2 by submission, and 1 by a decision. She doesn't lose often. Her last was in 2019 by a decision to a girl that was 2-0. She was green then. She has only improved since then. And she has beat girls that were 22-3, 8-4, 13-3, and 11-4. She won her last 8 fights. She's looking dominant. She's looking like a killer. Her nickname is 100% correct. Submitted her last 6 opponents. Lipski is definitely not getting the submission here. If anything, Karine Silva is live for the submission. Because Lipski's going to be shooting for a submission. She's going to be trying for maybe a takedown in this fight. And it's going to get reversed. Karine Silva will dominate and slaughter her. And at this price, I love it, honestly. Plus 130 is too nice of a price for Lipski. Way too nice. Those lips are getting smacked. And next up at UFC Vegas 91, we got the co-main event of the evening. Ryan Spann and Bogdan Guskov. Man dear, this is a shit co-main event. Ryan Spann, like, yeah, he has a Superman chest tattoo, but that does not mean he's a great fighter. I mean, he lost to Anthony Smith, couldn't put the pedal to the metal to win that fight. Now, how can I back you as a fucking 3-1 favorite here? Maybe because Bogdan Guskov is shit and lost to fucking Volkan Ozdemir, and then beat probably the worst light heavyweight the UFC could have gave him in Zach Paga. Found the knockout finish there. I mean, Bogdan Guskov comes out in the first round looking for a fight, looking for the finish, and if he can't get it, he probably is going to gas out. And if he's fighting a guy with a lot of experience and can handle the pressure and eat a couple shots, he's probably going to lose the fight. I mean, Volkan Ozdemir finished him off by rear naked choke. You don't see Volkan finishing too many guys. You just don't. Volkan is a decision dominator. Guskov, I mean, he beat a guy that was 20-10 a year ago, 4-1 before that, and 7-2. Hasn't beaten the best competition. Dominic Reyes was the last win for Ryan Spann. That was a power jab. That was a nice knockout a year ago. Dominic Reyes, I know his chin isn't good, but Dominic Reyes, 12-3, is a lot better than the boys that Guskov was fighting prior to the UFC. Do you agree or do you disagree? Let's be honest here. Come on. We're trying to make some money. Ion Cutelaba was another victim to Ryan Spann. He submitted him via guillotine choke. He looked good in that fight as well. His last 2 fights, other than the Anthony Smith one, he got submitted to Krylov. He didn't look good in his last 2 fights. But, you know, a fighter coming off 2 losses, he has to be hungry for the win. I say it time and time again. It's a revenge spot. It's a bounce back spot. I'm probably going to take it. He's a favorite. I don't love the price. I don't want it in parlays. But I got to think he's going to find a way to win in this fight. He has probably the better jab. He has the better combinations. Better durability, maybe. I think he gets it done here. I don't love the price. I'm not telling you to put the house on it. Don't go take a line of credit out and put it on Ryan Spann for a knockout finish. It's not a wise decision. He's training at the better gym as well. That's another thing I want to point out. Fortis MMA is probably the better gym than where Bogdan Guskov is training now. We just seen Walter Walker, a training partner of Bogdan Guskov, go out there and not look like a 4-1 fucking favorite. His striking did not look very good. And I gotta tell you, Bogdan Guskov in that fight against Volkan Ozdemir, he looked questionable. So if he can't find a one-punch KO like he did against Zach Paga, he's probably going to be in trouble against most of these guys at light heavyweight that are UFC caliber. Ryan Spann, unfortunately, is UFC caliber, and this plus money on Guskov isn't going to be worth taking it. Plus 170, it looks intriguing. He has a great finish rate, but it's not likely he's going to win. His losses are pretty evened out. 1 knockout, 1 submission loss, and 1 decision loss. if I'm taking Ryan Spann, I gotta think it's going to be a knockout loss. In 2020, Guskov was knocked out in the very first round. I'm going to think that Ryan Spann can assert the jab, find another power jab knockout, just like he knocked out Dominic Reyes there in his last win. He's going to try to do the same thing here against a guy that's really not UFC caliber. That's just what it's going to come down to. I believe Spann is accurate, powerful, and at the caliber of the UFC. He's going to pass with flying colors in this fight. He had 2 first-round finishes in his last 2 wins to Dominic Reyes and Ion Cutelaba. I still believe in Ryan Spann. He's going to get this one done probably in the very first round. That's why it's a co-main event. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to hopefully end early. I'm calling a first-round finish, Ryan Spann. Even, actually, not the knockout. Let's say Volkan Ozdemir found that submission easily. Ryan Spann also submitted Ion Cutelaba, right? So I'm going to actually lean towards a submission win in the first round for Ryan Spann. He's not going to knock him out. He's not going to chase a knockout with a power jab like he knocked out Reyes in his last fight. That's how he's going to set it up. He's going to set up the submission with the power jab. Ryan Spann for the win. Let's go, Superman. Let's go. We got the main event of the evening now. And this is what I mean. We got a fight here where 2 fighters are coming off a loss. This is the main event. Nicolau just got knocked out in the first smoke to Brandon Royval.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Won the belt to Brandon Moreno. Craziness. Beat him by a decision. Looked hella good. And he's stepping in against a guy that just lost to Muhammad Mokaev, Alex Perez. Perez is 32 years old. Perez has fought the who's who, has lost to the who's who. He's been around for a while. And the fact he's only a year older than Nicolau and has this much more experience
do you speak it?
leads me to believe that potentially this underdog could be live. He lost his last 3 fights. This is a bounce back, a revenge spot for him now. He lost to Fig by a submission. That's not a bad submission loss. He lost to Pantoja by a submission. That's not a bad submission loss. He lost to Fig and fucking Pantoja. Like, seriously, those are not bad submission losses. He lost a decision in his most recent loss 1 month ago to Muhammad Mokaev. He's coming in a little bit too quick. He only lost a month ago to Mokaev there. And he didn't look too bad, honestly. He didn't look horrible. He didn't get finished. There was really no point in that fight that it looked like he was going to get finished. He looked like he could hold his own. I thought he could have done more. I feel like he thought he could have done more. And Nicolau, his chin.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
I don't trust it. I can't put money on him after getting knocked out like that in the first round to Royval. I know it was quick, and he didn't have to wear too much damage, but, I mean, it wasn't a good look. His striking defense didn't look great. And before that, he beat Matt Schnell, who, his chin isn't great. So I can't have too much credit in that win there. Before that, you beat David Dvorak 20-3 by a decision. Tim Elliott by a decision 17-11. And beat Manel Kopp by split decision. Very close fight. So it's clearly going to be Nicolau by a decision or Alex Perez comes in here and gets the KO. His last win was by knockout. But that was 3 years ago. 4 years ago. He's going to need something crazy in the first round. In the second and third round, if Nicolau starts to get comfortable at distance, asserting himself, his dominance. You know, once Nicolau gets comfortable in the second and third round, it's game over. He's technical. Nicolau is sharp. And it's going to have to be quick and early. You're going to have to catch him off guard. And you're going to have to land with some heavy power. I don't know if I can really honestly trust this underdog, though. With all honesty, I can't trust him. I just see it being a possibility that Perez can win. It's a possibility. I'm not going to load up and lock in on Matheus Nicolau. I'm not going to put him in parlays. Some people might disagree. 88% of people on Tapology have confidence in Nicolau. 84% have him by a decision. Like I said, it's clearly a decision for him if he wins. If not, Perez could catch him on the feet or maybe even win a decision. Like I said, his last 2 losses before that loss to Mokaev was to two former champions, Pantoja and Figueiredo. Not bad losses. Coming off 3 losses, pissed off, and taking this fight now on short notice. You got nothing to lose at this point. Honestly, nothing. I gotta think he has a chance. At least he has a chance. I'd be careful on this one for sure. I'm gonna look into it a lot deeper. I'm gonna do some more tape study. I'm gonna rewatch that Mokaev fight. It was only a month ago. I see it pretty clear in my head, but I'll rewatch it for the sake of the video and stuff like that. Doing my final picks, my bets. Get on Patreon for $5 a month. I'll have the locks out there very soon with my big bet on them. My dog of the week will be there as well. I don't know if I have any dogs on this card. Maybe I will. Maybe I did. I don't know. Probably not. Like I said, it's a stinky card. We're going to have to be careful. We're going to have to manage the bankroll wisely. And most importantly, before you go, comment your most confident prop at plus money. I don't know if the odds are out yet. Probably not. We've seen the money line odds out for the last couple weeks now on this fight night because of the off week there. But the props are probably not out yet. Come back on Wednesday or Thursday. Give your most confident prop of the week at plus money. A knockout, a submission, a decision win for any fighter on this card. Let me know just one pick on this card that you're very confident in. Last week, let's pull it up. Ruthless Roommates brought us the easiest win ever for the forecast of the week. That had to be the easiest hammer play ever. I put a couple hundred on it. I did not expect it to hit that easy. First round, first 2 minutes. The sunglasses had to come on for a lot of the Jamal Hill bettors. There was a lot of them. They got burned. I tried to warn them. I locked in Pereira in a coin flip fight. And then I had one of my favorite forecasters, one of my good buddies, Ruthless Roommates, give me a perfect prop of the week. His most confident one as well. Alex Pereira by Caio. And did we ever crush it? Did he ever crush it? Nut shot to him. He just pushed Herb Dean back, went in. He went in and found that shot right after and put Jamal Hill to sleep. Sweet dreams, Jamal Hill, and all of the bettors for Jamal. I don't know what you were thinking. I mean, he was stepping in off the couch on short notice, just taking the opportunity, and he had to recover from an Achilles tendon injury where he did not have enough time to recover. I tried telling you. I gave you the 3 locks, and not everybody put the bet down. I mean, 2 of the fights, even Diego Lopez was a coin flip. Alright? But those were my 3 most confident picks on the entire card. They were my locks, and they hit. And not only did they hit, the forecast of the week hit, so I give the opportunity to one forecaster each and every fight card to give their most confident prop at plus money. And then it's my responsibility to pick one. And I picked the Ruthless Roommates, and they gave the forecasters an easy win. Within 3 minutes, it hit, and I had a couple hundred on it. Like I said, I showed my confidence. I told everybody how confident I was. So that's what I'm here to do, help you guys make money. We're a community. We have a bunch of great forecasters. Like I said, Ruthless Roommates, he's watching the videos each and every week. He's now actually the newest platinum forecaster. I just let 2 people join for free for the rest of the year. And looking at his plays, he had Lopez and he had Pereira as his 2 free plays. And he commented on the video. Like I said, I was doing a giveaway at UFC 300 for free access to my Patreon. It's only $5 a month if you want to join. But Ruthless Roommates is getting in for free. He's getting bets right now. We just hit a big one. Let me show you what we just hit right now. A couple hours ago, New York Rangers -1.5. Carolina Hurricanes -1.5. Went heavy and won big. Steven Stamkos earlier today had 2 points for me. I'm not just betting on MMA. Right? I make probably most of my money off NHL, NBA, MLB a little bit too, NFL when it's time to throw some pigskin around. I can do it all, but I like to focus on the fights. My specialty is MMA. I see fights very clearly. I have a line movement tracker and a bunch of other features for the UFC as well. I'm going to specialize in the UFC, but I'm maybe soon going to do some NHL videos basketball videos. It's playoff time. I'm getting locked in. I want to make some big money here, and I want to help you guys out. So if you want to see some basketball videos, hockey videos, let me know in the comments below. It'll help me get motivated to get those videos made and out there for you as well. So if I can see the comments and know that people are interested in seeing my picks for the NHL, for the playoffs, and the basketball for the playoffs here, let me know. I'll get right to it. I'll get some videos out for the NHL, NBA, not the MLB. I don't know enough baseball. I just know hockey, basketball. I might do a couple videos a week, something like that. Some short videos on Instagram, Twitter. I want to do something. I want to help the forecasters win some money. If you're not into other sports, thanks for coming in for the MMA predictions this week for UFC Vegas 91. It's a stinky card, but we're going to make the most of it. I can tell we're going to secure the bag. So for absolutely free, the place to be is Discord. I'm going to post the locks with full descriptions in there. I'm going to post the dogs of the week with full descriptions in there. I'm going to post my props of the week with full descriptions in there. So before I go, get the hell in Discord for absolutely free. And if you got $5 a month, join my Patreon. $5 a month. That's less than $1 a day you need to scratch up to join my Patreon and see each and every bet, to see the line movement tracker for each and every UFC card, to see the platinum picks with my confidence levels, method of victories on each and every fight, and early access to each and every play, each and every week. I can't wait to be back, forecasters. We're going to hit it big on this card, even though it absolutely stinks.